Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
The pandemic continues, but the time for student loan deferrals is coming to an end.
The government didn't do anything about reassessing whether or not students needed that extra time or not.
Halloween is here with new trick-or-treating precautions.
Some of our school-age children and older children, I think, have a good understanding of what they have to do to be safe.
And the city of Edmonton mourns the loss of beloved dressing room icon Joey Moss.
And I know how far that goes with players when you know that somebody's got your back. And he was just, like I said, one of the glue guys with both the hockey and the football teams.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. Some post-secondary graduates have been hit with an email they expected, but perhaps some weren't ready for.
The Government of Canada has resumed student loan payments after a 6-month suspension due to the pandemic. Our Chelsea McKay joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
Thanks, guys. With the Government of Canada resuming student loan payments, some recent graduates are feeling the stress and pressure more than ever to pay back their loan, although some still can't find a job in their field of study. As the Government of Canada resumes student loan payments, the reality for a lot of people is that they still can't afford it.
It was very overwhelming, mostly because of the fact that it's COVID and the hours are getting cut back at work anyways, so the bills are piling up, and then having to find an extra $100 or a couple $100 to pay next month when you really don't have it. It's just overwhelming stress.
With the province of Alberta standing at the second highest unemployment rate in Canada during the pandemic, recent graduates are struggling to find work in their field of study to pay back the loan.
This pandemic actually did not work out in our favor in terms of we didn't have jobs because the markets froze. Not just the industry that I graduated from, but various other industries, like all across the board, had hiring freezes.
Not only does it affect graduates, but current students have the worry of carrying a loan throughout the pandemic with the possibility of no job.
For example, some students are even choosing to stretch their degrees a little bit, so not like taking the minimum, like 3 classes instead of 4 or 5, so that they can then have student loans for longer, because they're hoping that it will kind of outlast the pandemic a little bit. So then by the time that they are ready to graduate and be done, then they're more likely to have a job.
Most often, loans are a necessity for a student trying to get an education.
And it really is important for students. Like, they need access to that because tuition and supplies and everything is increasing.
For graduates who cannot afford to start paying their loan back, can apply for the Student Repayment Assistance Plan on the Government of Canada's Student Aid website.
Chelsea, would you say less students are enrolling out of fear of not being able to pay back their student loans?
We can't narrow it down to one factor, but with classes being online and the rise of tuition in September, according to the president of NAIT Students Association, Jerry Lynn Kodolensky, NAIT has seen a 5% decrease in enrollment this year.
How much do Canadians owe in student loans?
As of today, Canadians owe $36 billion in student loans in all levels of government, with $3.6 billion of that being Alberta-issued student loans.
Thanks, Chelsea. That's Chelsea McKay reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
With the COVID-19 pandemic still in full swing, it's up in the air how everyone's favorite spooky holiday is going to look. Halloween is going to look a little different this year, with physical distancing measures still in place. But there are still ways you can celebrate this holiday safely. Christine Bannerman, the health supervisor at NAIT, says trick-or-treating within your cohort is a great way to celebrate Halloween.
If you're going out as a group, go out with a cohort group and make sure you can maintain distance. So, if Johnny wants to go out with Sally's family, why not? But maintain your distance between the families so that you can stay safe.
Adding a mask to your costume and avoiding high-touch areas like doorbells are a great way to stay safe for this holiday. For more information on how to stay safe, go to alberta.ca/Halloween during COVID-19. Projects like decks that keep people busy this summer have made house renovation and building prices go through the roof.
With demand so high on lumber and some plants not back to full capacity, it's added some financial complications for customers. Mia Hildebrandt has more.
Thanks, guys. The demand for renovations has increased significantly over the past several months, and that's primarily because, well, people are staying home. With people staying at home and looking for things to keep them busy, home renovation projects have been popular. For Lori Hildebrandt, building an addition onto her home was something she's always wanted to do.
It just kind of sealed the deal when we figured we're not going to be able to travel anywhere this year. Who knows, maybe not even next year. So the money that we would have put towards that and a couple other things we thought we'll put towards a sunroom.
All the pressure treated lumber that was out there was bought by homeowners so they could do their own deck or their own fence or whatever. There was no pressure treated lumber left to buy.
Connolly says that the price of standard OSB wood before was $16 and now it's $35.
Now the plants are back at work, but they're only back to work. They're not at full capacity, so they're not producing as much as they had.
With consumers buying more lumber than before despite the prices being as high as they are, costs are unlikely to come down anytime soon.
We just couldn't put this off. We had all things ready and we just had to bite the bullet, and it'll cost a little more than we originally thought.
If you're thinking of building or renovating your house in the next few months, it's looking to be about $8,000 to $10,000 more expensive to do so. Mia Hildebrandt, NAIT NewsWatch, Winnipeg.
Thanks, Mia. That's Mia Hildebrandt reporting from Winnipeg. Driving tests are now being given back to registries, which is a step toward getting your driver's test complete sooner than you could have in the last year. There has been a massive backup in driving tests being given to new drivers. The UCP government has decided to privatize driving tests to allow faster access.
Can I book a road test? Like, I have a son, I need to get to my doctor's appointments for him. And they said, I understand that you're frustrated, but fair is fair. You have to keep trying online. Maybe there's people that will either cancel the road test and there'll be another opening. You just have to keep your eye on it.
Will be able to book passenger vehicle road tests directly with local registries and through a new online system. Tests will begin to be offered January 5th.
At this point in the pandemic, we've gotten used to hearing that most sports and activities are being canceled, but one winter sport has found a way to thrive like never before. Although the snow hasn't quite settled yet in Edmonton, cross-country skiing has already seen a boost in popularity. Ulf Kleppe, the head coach of the Edmonton Nordic Ski Club, has already seen an increase in interest.
During these times, people want to get outside, and cross-country skiing, you use your whole body. You're getting fresh air. You're getting exercise. It's a family-friendly.
That people who are interested in the sport should take lessons to truly be able to enjoy time on the trails.
It may come at the cost of a well-known retailer, but 2021 grads have a chance to get a quality dress for a lesser price. Since the COVID pandemic hit Canada, Le Chateau has been trying to liquidate and sell its company. Although it is sad news to hear the well-known Canadian company is shutting down, this gives grads this year a chance to get a cheaper dress for their graduation.
I don't know if we're gonna have a grad this year, but if we do, I don't think that people are gonna be spending that much money on dresses just because it's iffy, and that we're probably gonna have to wear masks.
With the uncertainty for this year's graduating class, a cheaper option might be the best bet. With the risk of there being a cancellation for graduation again, it may be better to look at places such as Le Chateau to find your dream grad dress.
Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at NAIT's approach for offering resources and tools for students.
A need for financial services is helping students keep their money on the right track.
You can definitely tell that NAIT is making an effort to help its students in this hard time, so that's been really nice.
Men's hockey at a hiatus, women's basketball at an uncertainty, and the very sad passing of Joey Moss, all coming up on sports.
I'm Tyler Smith from NAIT NewsWatch Weather. Things are looking up for the Halloween weekend. As trick-or-treaters walking door to door won't have to bundle up too much. Speaking of that, I really should carve my pumpkin. All that and more coming up after the break.
I do remember having some cold Halloweens here in Edmonton growing up.
Well, it's too bad that we don't trick or treat anymore because kids, candy lovers, are going to have a great weekend. Let's go to Tyler Smith with more on the weather.
Trick or treat. Well, I don't have candy, but I do have weather, and that might be the next best thing for the Halloween weekend. Although Halloween looks a little bit different this year, trick-or-treaters won't have to bundle up too much. We have a bubble of warm air pushing through the province for the whole weekend and early into next week to start November. Let's head on over to Calgary. Calgary, we got a high of 6 in the afternoon, and when you wake up, it's going to be about -4, so right around averages. 20% chance of precipitation, possibly a little rain, but nothing to worry about. Let's head on over to Jasper. Out west, we have a 30% chance of precipitation, maybe a little snow, rain action, so no hiking in the morning. It's going to be about -6 in the morning as well, so it's going to be cold. But come trick-or-treating time, it's going to be okay. Let's go on up north to Fort Mac, and Fort Mac is going to be a 30% chance of precipitation as well, possibly some rain, so bundle up, trick-or-treaters, maybe a little raincoat over the costume, unfortunately. When you wake up in the morning, it's going to be about -9, so a little chilly. And I mean, trick-or-treating time, we could be looking about -2, -3, so again, you might have to bundle up north. Let's head to our city, and the high for Edmonton is going to be 5, and when you wake up in the morning, it's going to be -3, but we're going to have about a 30% chance of precipitation as well. But come trick-or-treating time, it's going to be about 2 or 3 degrees hopefully, so that'd be awesome. Our Edmonton averages, our high is going to be about 4, so actually we're looking pretty good here come double digits next week. And our average -4 low, yeah, we're right around there, so we can be happy with that. Our record high of 20 degrees in 1981, I don't think we're going to be hitting that, but pretty close actually. And our record low of -24 back in 1984. And don't forget, guys, time change. So set your clocks back 1 hour Saturday night / Sunday morning, but that's all I have for the Halloween forecast. Back to you guys.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92.
As we said at the top of the show, the student loan deferral plan came to an end at the beginning of the month, and it's left many NAIT students worried about their financial future.
But NAITSA and MyWellnessPlan.ca have created a service that could alleviate some of the stress. Here is Adam Srink with more.
Coffee, or knowledge of financial education, is just the newest of several services being provided through NAITSA's online counseling system.
With financial advisors to help students learn how to budget, track their credit scores, things like that. There's so many cool things on the website that we were trying to get students to learn about, because obviously finance or worrying about your, money and things like that is not fun when you're already worrying about school.
MyWellnessPlan.ca's coffee table gives students the opportunity to speak with financial coaches, participate in online seminars, and instill confidence in those who may not be in the green.
You can definitely tell that NAIT is making an effort to help its students in this hard time, so that's been really nice.
Other students haven't been as lucky. King's University student Hudson Black wishes he could have access to the coffee program.
I'd like to sit down with someone and talk about how to budget my money properly so that way I can pay off my loans in a timely manner. So that way I'm not in a ton of debt when I'm finally finished school.
At the halfway point of the semester, counseling services are still in exceptionally high demand, with many wait times exceeding the usual. But with NAIT Counseling and NAITSA finding new and modern ways to upgrade their services online, things appear to be looking up. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Adam Srink.
Sports teams are still hopeful for a season this year.
Yes, they are, and they're remaining committed. Our David Udo has more with sports.
Normally, the women's basketball team will be gearing up for their new season, but due to the current pandemic, their season remains doubtful. However, the players and coaching staff are still more invested than ever before. This year, the women's basketball team are not worried whether or not a season is taking place. They seem to be just as dedicated with or without games. That is thanks to their coach Todd Warnick, who brought them their first chip back in the 2015-16 season and a bronze medal at the 2015-16 CCAA National Championships.
Currently, we're training 3 times a week with our team in the gym. We're fortunate enough that the NAIT reopening committee approved the safety plans that allowed us to return to campus as one of the few groups that have been
The
allowed to
women are
return to
still very
campus.
much prepared for games if they should resume this year. As for now, they hope their training can keep them in shape and ready for the real deal. With the uncertainty of any seasons taking place this year, the men's hockey team is looking to, more than ever, develop some chemistry on the ice. The NAIT men's hockey team are still unsure whether or not they're going to have a season this year, but they're dedicating time and effort into attending practices and playing scrimmages in place of real games. Their new appointed coach, Scott, is preparing his team for whatever the case may be, whether it's just practices or even potential games.
We've been training for the last, since late September, we've been training at NAIT and just kind of controlling what we can, like just preparing for maybe the possibility of games.
Despite the season still being up in the air, the focus for the team remains the same. They hope to be back playing competitively and add to their many ACAC championships like they have been for many years. Being in online classes can be a pain, but one online gaming tournament proved to be a lifesaver for many students. During online schooling, students find it very challenging to stay focused and on task. They often look for ways to release stress, which is why many NAIT and other students were ecstatic to know the Edmonton Sports Club is hosting a NHL 21 tournament that runs from October 29 all the way through November 26.
To me, I mean, it's really important with the whole pandemic going on. To have an NHL tournament, it's really big for the community and to get us as players out there. So I can't wait for it. I'm super happy they're putting this on, and I can't wait to put on a show.
The winners of the 3-week tournament will be eligible for PlayStation or Xbox gift cards. Games will take place every Thursday night, starting at 7 p.m. It's been a very sad past couple days for Oiler and Eskimo fans with the recent passing of the locker room icon, Joey Moss. Joey Moss has been with the Oilers organization for 35 years. Throughout his tenure with the team, he has been recognized for his efforts on and off the ice, winning several awards, including the 7th Man Award. He has also had a cup named after him called the Joey Moss Cup and got inducted into the Alberta Hall of Fame back in 2015.
Well, Joey was a real kind guy, I got to say. He always greeted you with a smile, and it was always a lot of fun to be around. But we always had a great relationship.
There's been flowers and a hockey stick left out at Joey's mural. Also, a memorial fund was started to continue the work of Moss by advocating the employment for people with disabilities.
A very tragic week for Edmonton hockey and football fans.
Yes, it really was. The city lost an all-time great.
A seriously sad moment in Edmonton sports history. May Joey forever rest in peace.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at how the month of the mustache is using its powers for good causes.
Movember is using their platform to help bring awareness to men's mental health.
Really, we're just trying to get men all over the world to be more open and sharing about their mental and physical health.
This week in entertainment, I got to sit down with country music star Brett Kissel to discuss his new documentary. All that and more coming up.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
It's that time of year again to shave those beards and bring back the stash back into fashion.
That's right, Movember starts next week, meaning it's time to support men's health by growing or wearing a mustache.
Movember fundraisers have created a global community. Over 1,250 men's health projects have been completed all around the world and are conducting to make big strides for men's health.
From a very young age, it's stigmatized that boys and men shouldn't open up about what's going on in their lives because it's seen as not manly or you need to keep those things to yourself and all these very harmful stereotypes. There is a lot more conversation, and boys and men are being way more open about what's happening in their lives and sharing their stories and talking about what's going on, and ultimately that is saving men's lives.
Wilson also says he has seen an increase in men feeling open to talk about their mental and physical health since Movember gained popularity. Post-secondary allows students to follow their ambitions, but 2 NAIT graduates took a different path than their program of study.
2 graduates of an electrician program are running a virtual gaming company. Here's Karen Park with more on the story.
Stephanie and Eric are both graduates of electrician program at NAIT. After working in the field over 10 years, Stephanie noticed that many electrician jobs started to close down for the last few years. For the downturn, they decided to open the virtual reality game company, Game Over.
We decided that there was probably not very much coming up for electrical work, so we decided that we were going to go and do something different in the meantime, just to kind of be able to branch out and, of course, find something that we were both passionate about.
Although it was a big jump from trades to virtual reality, their technical skills helped them opening the business.
Our trades background did help with some aspects of it, especially with the build out, virtual reality. You need a lot of power to run all the computers. So we did a lot of the electrical work in the building there when we set everything up.
With the 3.5 years of running the business, they've been having the philosophy of giving the best experiences to customers from day one. Besides from directly interacting with customers, they are actively using the social media platform to promote themselves as well.
They tend to do a lot of lives showcasing their games. So each time they do it, they are showcasing a different game to show people what you do in the game and how to interact within the game.
For this Halloween week, Game Over is offering a 25% off on their newest zombie game, Arizona Sunshine. You can check out their Facebook page for more information. I'm Karen Park.
Halloween celebrations are looking a little bit different this year.
With all the new restrictions and recommendations, Halloween events have to adapt and change. Our reporter, Destiny Mayer, has more.
COVID-19 has changed the way we have to celebrate Halloween this year. With new restrictions and masks being encouraged, events like the Pumpkin Patch Parade were born.
The Pumpkin Patch Parade was born from, I guess, out of necessity, in the sense that Halloween is definitely looking a lot different this year for most families, I should say.
The event takes place in Sherwood Park from 3 till 5 p.m. on Halloween. The event encourages costumes for all species, dogs, cats, and people. Following the parade, each kid will pick up a candy bag and will be able to enter a pumpkin into the pumpkin carving contest.
Idea that we needed something and wanted something different. And not necessarily safer, although I do believe it is safer because there's no contact. We wanted to have this opportunity to be creative and show something different.
With events like these being born out of such new and different circumstances, annual events are changing the way they do things to make things seem just a little bit more normal. The annual Trunk or Treat event hosted by Celebration Church is happening again this year, but with some new changes. This year, event participants are to book a time slot between 1 and 3 p.m. on Halloween to come visit the event. As well as the cars that are giving out candy are expected to wear gloves, masks, sanitize their candies, and give out the candy through candy chutes.
It hasn't been too difficult of an event to adapt, which is really nice because so many things have to be canceled or rescheduled. So I'm hoping it'll bring a little bit of normalcy to people.
Halloween this year doesn't have to be canceled. It just has to look a little different. This has been Destiny Mayer for NAIT NewsWatch.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely still dressing up for Halloween this year. I've got my Gomez Adam costume all figured out.
I'm actually going as Harley Quinn this year. There's just some childlike magic that comes out from dressing during Halloween. But Tate Latecraft has you covered for entertainment this week. I wonder if he's dressing up.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've actually put zero planning into my costume this year, but maybe going as Brett Kissel is a good backup plan. Speaking of the singer, he won big at last month's Canadian Country Music Awards, nabbing Hardware for Male Artist of the Year. But he's also debuted a new documentary highlighting his journey in playing Canada's first socially distanced concert tour.
I feel very, very lucky that everybody supported the event in a bigger way than we even thought that they would.
The documentary, titled Brett Kissel Live at the Drive-In, follows the country music star as he and his team prepare for the concert series. Kissel says that while the process was full of highs and lows, there was never any denying Canada's appetite for live music.
It could have been me on a flatbed trailer with a couple speakers on sticks playing to a couple people. But we thought if you build it, they will come.
Through 24 shows across the country, more than 10,000 fans rolled up for the drive-in concerts, and in partnership with Safeway, they were able to raise more than $250,000 for Food Banks Canada. A local designer is piecing together his creations and turning them into puzzles.
Definitely an overwhelming feeling. I honestly didn't think that it would go this far.
Rayaz Sharan is a freelance graphic designer with a passion for photography. In recent months, he took inspiration from the romanticizing of cities like New York and San Francisco, feeling that Edmonton deserved the same treatment. But it wasn't his idea to turn the pieces into puzzles.
I've had like a really good following of people with my work, and they've always asked about making it into a puzzle, some of my work. So I just thought, well, this would be a perfect time to kind of test it out and see.
Since the release, over 200 puzzles have been sold, with fresh orders coming by the day. You can find them online at rssdesigns.ca. For 14 years, Avenue Edmonton was one of our city's go-to magazines, and now they've got a fresh new look as October brings the first edition of Edify.
We are the hyper-local magazine that aspires to be of an exceptionally high quality, but that is 100% about Metro Edmonton and the people.
The magazine will cover much of what Avenue did: food, entertainment, fashion, but where it aims to be different is in its ability to personalize with Edmontonians. Edify's editor-in-chief says that narrative storytelling is crucial to their identity.
We're also deeply connected to the stories of these people who really make the city tick.
Edify's first issue is out now. You can find it in stores or online at edifyedmonton.com. Located about an hour and a half northeast of Calgary is the farming community of Torrington. It might not draw your attention if you drove by, but in the heart of the town lies a world-famous museum. And what's even more surprising is the stuffed gophers inside of it.
The museum itself was originally supposed to be a 5-year project. It will be open 25 years next year.
Torrington's famous Gopher Museum is a sleeper hit tourist attraction that draws visitors from all over the world every summer. The exhibit features taxidermied gophers, propped and dressed up, acting out scenes from the town's history. But due to the pandemic this past season, the future of the business was in question. That was when the daughter of the museum's original curator decided to step up to the plate.
I grew up in the town. We took our kids there when they were small, and so yeah, we know that when something closes in Torrington, it doesn't reopen, and we didn't want to see that fate befall the museum.
Despite safety protocols that limited the amount of people inside, the exhibit still saw more than 2,000 visitors this summer. Curtis says the museum will be back next year in celebrating its 25th anniversary. Kind of a nice little underdog story, isn't it? Or maybe under gopher? Anyway, I'm Tate Lakecraft, and this has been NAIT NewsWatch Entertainment.
I might have to take a trip up to Torrington to go visit the Gopher Museum.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. Anyway, that's it for NAIT NewsWatch this week.
We'll see you next week. Have a great day.